Hi guys, I'm Isabel from The Upcoming. It's really lovely to speak to you both today. And congratulations on coming in at fantastic season 2 of The Wheel of Time.
Very much. Nice to meet you.
Oh, you too. So perhaps I could start with you, Daniel. You come into this season and you're replacing Barney Harris in the role of Matt Coulson. How did that feel to embody this character? And what was it about the series and coming into this that kind of appealed to you and made you want to climb on board as this character?
Um, in the process of coming to arriving at this part, I think there's a lot of red tape and you don't know exactly what it is for a long time until you're nearly meeting the creative team. And I think that was a good thing because the scripts, the things that I've been sent, they might have all been called different names and different scenes, but the character was there. Like, so it was the character really that I suppose was drawing me to it, and the sense of kind of wanting to make his life and the life of people around him easier, better in a hard world, with like humor, with lightness, with the sense of ease and kind of sense of alleviating the gravitas of everyone's situation, as well as having this dichotomy of trying to perform that alongside managing all the other things that this character has of a sense of pushing people away, a sense of people have called him a coward. There's you're kind of, I think, a theme within the Wheel of Time is predetermination or predestiny, and that maybe do we have any say in the people that we become, or like, are we in charge of that, or is it something that's set out for us? And I think that was also something that, coming to playing the part of Matt, I was really intrigued in figuring out for myself, and that's what made it a really exciting thing to come on and be a part of. Like, yeah, the character first and foremost.
Thank you. And Ciara, the writer of the book series, Robert Jordan, has done a really great job of kind of making the women in the Wheel of Time really strong. And that's really adapted well onto the screen as well. So was that one of the things that sort of appealed about you coming into this season to play Elayne? And can you tell us a little bit about her story arc in this season?
Yeah, of course. So Elayne Jacquard is the daughter heir of Andor. So she's next in line to the Lion Throne. And one thing I really love about Robert Jordan's world of the Wheel of Time is that it's a matriarchal line to the throne. So the eldest daughter of the queen that is currently holding the throne is next in line. So I really love that about the book series and about playing the character. And her journey this season, we find her in the White Tower. She's training to become an Aes Sedai, hopefully one day. But she's starting off from scratch as a novice, just like everyone else in the tower. So probably for the first time in her life, she's treated as an equal to the others around her. So she's having this very new experience and embracing it with open arms. And in this journey, she's meeting new people as well, and making friends for the first time, because her upbringing has been so sheltered, and she hasn't necessarily had the space to kind of make friends, because she's training to become the queen. So she's having this new experience of making new friends in the tower, and learning the kind of like push and pulls and the intricacies of friendships and how to support another person. And so she kind of goes on this journey, and she's also meeting characters like Egwene and Nynaeve, who are equally as headstrong and strong-willed as she is. And it's probably the first time she's kind of encountered such women of her age. So she's kind of having these interesting interactions and kind of learning about the people around her. And it's a really interesting journey that she goes on.
Oh, thank you. And obviously, talking a little bit about the strong women, I mean, don't know for you, at the beginning of the season, we see you kind of being held captive by the Reds. So you're there. How did you kind of prepare for that? Because it isn't a battle scene, it's a very emotional kind of scene that we see you begin this series with. You know, what was that like for you?
Um, yeah, I have a huge fondness for those days, like which are all set within that cell, and where you meet Matt at the start of season 2, because naturally beginning something like this is a bit of a whirlwind experience, and I felt really supported and centered by our phenomenal director at the time, Thomas Napper, who was amazing, and Kate, who the scenes are with, Kate Fleetwood, who is phenomenal. And like, I'd have admired her stuff from afar for so long as a student in London, you know, queuing up to get tickets for her at the Almeida or the National, like, and then kind of meeting her on this level. And I was made feel very comfortable because I think they both, Tom and Kate, understood that, you know, I was very up to that point. I'd done some theatre, and so we got together in a black box studio space and ran these scenes almost as if it was a play, and that allowed us to kind of talk about it like it was filled with kind of rehearsal and color and choices, and a clarity as to what both those characters want from each other. And I think that helped a lot because it feels like both those characters are wanting this battle of wits, or this kind of, I think Matt feels like he can kind of push and challenge Leandrin, and Leandrin is totally dominant, but she is I think she relishes this kind of camaraderie / kind of warfare that they have, and ultimately, you know, she's got a safe place to play from because she's always in control. So I feel really lucky, like, that those were my first couple of days on this job. It could have been a baptism by fire. It could have been really daunting, but it that helped a lot. And you know, the emotionally, all those scenes were filmed in that space, and so we were there for probably a week. And you know, I'd have my lunch in there. I'd, you know, just hang out in there in between setups and stuff. So I didn't really have to stretch too far for the idea of kind of wanting to get out in the end, but it was all useful. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. And Ciara, this brilliant friendship develops between yourself, Egwia, and Nynaeve as novices. What was it like to work with Madeline and Zoe in those roles, and kind of build that friendship both on and off screen?
It was so wonderful, honestly. I feel so incredibly lucky to have been allowed to kind of work with them, and that be my kind of them be my first kind of people that I work with on the show, because they are both so incredibly talented, and they're so well versed on and off screen. So I got to learn so much from them, not only in their performances and how they work on camera, but also how they navigate the sets. And this set is a huge one. It's kind of monumental in size. So to have their support and them to look up to was just completely invaluable, because I felt like I was on a fast track course into like how to be on set, because they were just so incredible and gracious, and but also so supportive. I really looked up to the two of them. But yeah.
Oh, and obviously you talk about the set. What was that like? I mean, this is not just like green screen. This is proper, beautiful sets being made for you guys. I mean, this is amazing to walk into this, isn't it?
Absolutely. You kind of step into these sets, and it's 360, and the detail that the set designer Andre goes into is incredible, down to kind of the details in the walls, and they build whole entire villages for a couple of scenes. And we're so lucky to have these kind of full sets to interact with, because it takes it takes so much weight off our shoulders in terms of performance, because there's so little left to imagine, because it's there in front of you, and you can touch it and you can interact with it and you can kind of feel the space around you. So it's very easy to kind of drop into character and feel like you're in the world, because you literally are. You are in the White Tower, or you're wherever your character may be, and it's an incredible resource, and makes our job a lot easier.
And I think obviously the costumes for both of you, you know, really sort of lay bare the historical background. I mean, for you, Donald, you start with kind of like the shabby kind of, you know, and as we see time changes, again, your costume changes. What was that like for you? And for you, obviously, as well. Ceara, you have this beautiful white gown. It's like haute couture. So what was it like donning those costumes and kind of getting into those roles?
I mean, I guess what was really useful for me in the sense was that when I came in, there's probably a comfortable consistency within Matt from season 1 to season 2, in that he's still wearing that coat. But also I think there's something amazingly intuitive within the costume team, and our designer Sharon, who's amazing, is that she understands not just how the clothes look, but hears in response to how clothes make you feel. And that for me, there's a cloudiness, or there's a kind of a weight or a dourness to that, which almost feels like a sense of baggage, and that is like totally befitting for where we meet Matt at the start of season 2, and that he's carrying all of the choices from season 1. And I think that was kind of useful to remember as like as you kind of get ready for a day on set, is that there's a physical embodiment that kind of helps you intuitively kind of carry something. Like, it was kind of like wearing a carpet to work every day, and that does something to you psychologically, I imagine. So and yeah, that I can't say too much about what comes in the future, but I love my costumes now. Yeah.
And for you, Ceara, obviously, like I said, with that beautiful white haute couture gown, what's that feel like wearing that and being?
It's amazing, because it's a white dress. It's the novice dress that every novice has to wear as a uniform. And Sharon is just incredible, the way she's made something so simple be so intricate and detailed, down to the kind of texture of the material and the clasps on your wrists, and the cut of it is so elegant that I was kind of wondering how it would be to kind of be playing this daughter heir role in such a kind of simple costume, but it honestly did so much for me in terms of the elegance of it, and just kind of thinking about how Elayne would take this kind of garment on, and how she would make it her own in a world and in a space where everyone's wearing the same thing. So it was a really it was a wonderful costume, and Sharon is an absolute genius.
Oh, well, thank you guys so much for speaking to you. It's a wonderful fantasy magical series, and I'm very pleased you're both on board to join this, so that fans get to see your journey in this. Thank you very much for speaking to me.